Hello, it is Monday, August 30th, 2021. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to my New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It is Monday morning, and so we are solving a Monday crossword. Hopefully, and presumably, a fairly straightforward crossword. But before that, let's review a couple of comments from a somewhat less straightforward crossword, yesterday's very punny, I suppose, or at least wordplay-filled Sunday crossword. You may recall that one of the clues referred to a car maker. The answer was REO, and George Adams says, "This was a hard puzzle, but I found it easier than yesterday's Saturday puzzle. By the way, Thunder is the name of Oklahoma City's NBA team," so there's another answer. And Ransom E. Olds, REO, was a pioneer in the American auto industry who developed the Oldsmobile and later left that company to found the REO Motor Car Company. So there we go. That's the source of REO. And Churn points out that Falcon Crest, which you may recall appeared in the puzzle in the form of Falcon Caressed, was an old soap opera from the 80s. It is pretty much what you think it is. Wikipedia says it is set in a fictional location based on Napa Valley, funnily enough. Napa being another clue that was in, can't recall if it was in yesterday's crossword or another recent crossword, but the California winemaking region that popped up in the crossword. Other people had some tough times with this puzzle, it looks like, and I apparently did as well because I had even more slightly incorrect bits of context. Brian D. points out Acura, which came up as one of the answers, is Honda's upmarket brand, not Toyota's. I must have referred to it as Toyota's sportier brand incorrectly. And Brian says, "But what you said about Japanese naming schemes answered a question. Mazda has been trying to get rid of the name Miata for their little two-seater and replace it with MX-5. The latest models don't have the word Miata on them anywhere. I've always thought this was strange since Miata has such a strong name recognition, but they are clearly trying to advertise it as upmarket now, which the prices of them certainly reflect." And that is in reference to my theory about this, the sort of fancier, more expensive Japanese cars often having these arcane acronyms rather than words that one would speak or use in a sentence. And finally, Kyle Schlata says, "What's opera doc?" which is in reference to one of the clues that used the name of a classic Bugs Bunny cartoon. I believe I erroneously said that What's Opera Doc uses The Barber of Seville, which was incorrect. I suppose I was thinking of a different... that's another classic Bugs Bunny cartoon, and I don't remember what that one was called. Anyway, Kyle points out that What's Opera Doc uses Wagner's Ride of the Valkyries as its tune, the famous Kill the Wabbit line. Also points out that people from Oklahoma are called Sooners, as referenced in the puzzle, because early settlers of that state entered the unassigned lands during the land rush before the president had officially opened them for settlement. So there we go. I think that's it. That was quite a long list of my misstatements or slight bits of misunderstanding. Even in cases where I did end up getting the clue. So sorry about that, everyone, and thank you so much for your knowledge. Now, shall we move on to today's crossword, a hopefully quite gentle puzzle constructed by Brooke Husick and edited, as always, by Will Shorts. Yes, I think we are ready to get started. Okay. Mongolian desert. The Gobi Desert, I think. Complexity. Could it be intricacy? To develop a chrome dome. To go bald. The start of a Juliet soliloquy. This would be Romeo, right? Either separately blank combination. Presumably either separately or in combination, we can assume. Here we have Mississippi City on the Gulf of Mexico. Let's see if we can get that with crosses. 17 across says leave in a hurry. Well, if you leave in a hurry, you might bolt. And this says winged cupids in art. Well, Cupid, Eros, the god of love, could be Amors, right? Let's see if that continues to work here. Home of the University of Kentucky. I think I know what this is, but it's a Monday puzzle, so let's keep looking around and see if we can get some more with crosses. So for those who wouldn't know this sort of knowledge, how would you fare? It's the same with this down clue. I do have a guess about that. 29 across. Why are you telling me this? Do I care? I suppose that is. 21 down is a sarcastic criticism. Feels like it should be obvious, and I'm not immediately seeing it. Let's hear. Cos Parsegian in Notre Dame history. Notre Dame, I guess it's probably the American school. But I don't know. So here we have barely any as food or drink. So barely any without as food or drink, I mean, could be scant or something like that. What is it specifically in the context of food or drink? I don't know offhand. Here we have a friend, could be a pal. Let's check this. Eggplant blank, cheesy dish, informally. Eggplant parm, short for parmigiana, the Italian dish. So friend probably is pal. And then the right-hand page of a book. Oh, right. Recto, maybe? There's terms for the right and left-hand pages of a book in I don't know, book assemblage or typesetting or something. It might be recto. Plagued. Could be ate at. If thoughts were plaguing you, they could be said that they ate at you. Let's try it and see. 1/48th of a cup abbreviation. Well, I certainly wouldn't know this as knowledge, but with the number of cells we have to fill and that T there, I suspect it's a teaspoon. Enter as a foyer. Well, foyer is a room, so perhaps you step in. That seems like an awfully specific clue for such a generic answer, but it works. Oh, barely any as food or drink is merely a taste. I see what that's getting at. Right-hand page of the book. Yep, could be recto. What's this long clue here? Long answer, I should say. Doesn't have fortitude. Could be lacks something. Lacks, I don't know, valor. Here we have show friendliness despite ill feeling. Could be make nice. If you have an argument with somebody afterwards, you could make nice. Where everything's a buzz. It could be bees buzzing in a hive, a beehive. What is this? Setting for a rock concert. A rock concert might be held in an arena, large performance venue. And here we have blank vera. This is a very, very common crossword. Fill aloe comes up absolutely all the time. We've probably seen it a dozen times just on this series in the past couple months, I would say. To wander could be to roam or to rove, I think. But either way, it starts with an O, so does that help us here? Hawaii's Mauna blank. I think I know what this is, but again, to try and let's try and get as many of these geographical answers that might be obscure to some people through crosses and see how we do. So, doesn't have fortitude, lacks heart, perhaps? A CPR pro is someone who conducts, what does CPR stand for? Something pulmonary, I don't know. Cardiopulmonary resuscitation, I'm going to guess. Seems like that's what it is, so maybe that's what it stands for. Anyway, that's an EMT, an emergency medical technician, and there we now see that wander is not rove, but roam, and we never looked at this. A rower's implement, yes, an oar. You row in a boat with an oar, of course. Here we have longtime name on Wheel of Fortune. I do know this answer, but I'm just going to keep this whole thing going of the sort of more culturally specific clues. I'm going to skip them, and we'll just see how we do with the crosses, because It's a Monday. It's an easier puzzle. Why not? Fury could be ire, anger. Hunt for again could be re-something. Often when you see again, that's it's a hint about that there could be a re at the beginning. The A of AKQJ. I haven't a clue what AKQJ is, but fortunately, the one letter we're missing... Oh, I do see what it is. Well, anyway, the one letter we're missing is an A because it's the first, presumably the first letter of the word in question. This must be referring to the face card, well, the high-scoring cards in a deck of playing cards. The ace, king, queen, and jack, I assume. Calder Cup Rink Organization. Not sure offhand. Gets hold of, not grabs, grasps. Here we have a sarcastic criticism. Oh, right, what is this? Snark, maybe? If you're snarky, you're sort of sarcastically critical. Then what is this long answer? Finishes eating ice cream or soup, say. Based on the fill so far, licks the spoon, I suppose. I don't really think of that as something you do with soup. Because soup is something you eat at a dinner table, often with other people, and licking the spoon would be sort of odd, whereas in an informal setting where you might be eating ice cream, it seems a bit more acceptable. Let's see. One running for office, for short. Well, people who run for office are politicians. For short, maybe Pauls. The opposite of a freeway. This is another... Freeway, I think, is another American culturally specific clue. So maybe let's skip that. You might be able to infer what this is anyway, even if you don't know it. But let's just keep going. Okay, word before language or temperature. Not sure. Bird on the Canadian dollar. I'm going to go ahead and, well, maybe I won't answer it. Something that might pop into your head. You might have an idea about something. Word before tidy, language or temperature. Tidy. Why am I not seeing this? Is this wrong? Intricacy. That looks right. Oh, body language or body temperature. Sorry. Yes. I don't know why that took me so long. End of a shoe. Well, at the end of the shoe is your toe. So easy enough. Here we have the first K-pop group to have a #1 Billboard hit. I saw that this was in a crossword recently, actually. And then here we have the bird on the Canadian dollar. Well, with this many crosses, I think it's fair enough to go ahead and fill in loon there. And then here we have escargot, which is a French for snail. It's a delicious dish. And then we have the K-pop group is BTS, which I now know from someone writing a comment recently stands for Bangtan Boys in whatever sort of way that's romanized. Here we have a grad. In other words, someone who's graduated from a particular university. They're an alum, an alumnus or an alum for short, because grad is a shortened version of graduate. And here we have the opposite of a freeway and a means of communication in a quiet place, in brief. This fill also was in, this was the first, this answer was the first answer in that Lollapuzzoola competition crossword that I solved a week or two ago on the channel. It is ASL American Sign Language. There are a number of other sign languages, like British Sign Language. I don't really know. It seems like sort of a shame that the American and British Sign Languages are different. I hope they're not too different, because it seems sort of unnecessary. All right. A rescuer for when you've lost your key. Well, when you've lost your key, you may well need a locksmith to come help you out. I've been in that situation, and it's quite aggravating. Female flower part. Don't remember. A player making a basket or goal. Well, if you make a basket or you make a goal, you've scored, so I suppose you are a scorer. Here we have hunt for again. Well, now that we have these extra bits of fill, I think we can safely say this is re-seek, to seek something again. A lot of these re words I find to be a little awkward. Often, I mean, obviously there are plenty of legitimate words that begin with re, but often in the crosswords you'll get re prefixed onto something that creates a word that is, I would say, pretty rarely used. I don't know that re-seek is something that I've encountered very often in a lifetime of speaking English, but fair enough, we got there with the crosses. Xanadu group. This refers to a song and is referring to Jeff Lynne's all-time classic band, the Electric Light Orchestra, or ELO. ELO comes up not infrequently in the crosswords because it's such a handy little collection of letters to serve as fill. Suffix with cyto or proto. Sounds like cytoplasm or protoplasm to me. Here we have one who might have a contract with a sandal manufacturer. Foot something? And then here we have voyage by boat. Could be a sea trip. Not necessarily the most common way to refer to that, but maybe. Swiss cough drop brand. And I assume these are pretty international because they're Swiss. I don't know. I'm going to put it in anyway. Ricola. And then here we have need after a computer crash informally. Could be IT, so IT for information technology, the IT person at an office. IT help could be something a little funnier like IT guru. IT desk, it could be. Sometimes that's called in an office. New moon, full moon, and others. Well, these are phases of the moon. And then here we have units in track or swimming. Laps, you do laps. Here at 65 across, we have wild actress Laura. That would be Laura Dern. And 59 down, we have error of Family Feud rerun, so the network that aired Family Feud. Well, this is both culturally specific to the US and also something I don't know. So let's keep looking around. What have we not looked at yet? Flow out. When water flows out, it ebbs. You have the ebbing tide. Jose blank tequila brand. I assume this is sold internationally. It's certainly in the UK. Jose Cuervo. Foot. What is this sandal manufacturer? Foot. Sorry if this is obvious. A mix of coffee and chocolate, 55 across, is mocha. So here now we see that the need after a computer crash informally is the most straightforward one of those. It's IT help. And she in French is, I mean, you could probably guess even if you didn't know it at this point because it's a slight loan word in English. Elle, as in Elle magazine, for instance. Performs, this is pretty straightforward. If you perform something, you do it. So performs, does. And now we see that the person who might have a contract with a sandal manufacturer is a foot model, I see. So they might be a model for a particular brand of sandal. Okay, let's see. What have we not looked at? I don't think we've looked here. Big part of a dachshund. So dachshunds are very long dogs, but I think they also have big ears. Is that true of dachshunds? They have big ears? Let's try it. A grade school class with crayons. Well, it might be art class would have crayons in it, wouldn't it? And then we have tandoor bread, so bread at an Indian restaurant in a tandoor oven, naan. Here we have a Roman emperor who succeeded his adoptive father. Certainly looks like Nero, doesn't it? And then we get two of these clues. We have longtime name on Wheel of Fortune is Vanna White, who's on this American, I don't know what you'd call it. It's not really a quiz show. Game show is what it is, sorry. And then a sorority's counterpart. So this is not technically American, but I think that this particular usage of this term is quite American. Fraternity in university, a frat. Frat strikes me as a fairly American term. I think I can go ahead and say that I was correct with the right-hand page of a book being recto. And now we see that the home of the University of Kentucky is Lexington. And I think that would be fair enough to fill in at that point. Mississippi City on the Gulf of Mexico, Biloxi. That would be, I would say, probably tougher to guess than Lexington if you don't already know it. So could be a tough cross with that X there if neither of these allow you to make a relatively confident guess. What have we not yet looked at? Tiny neighbor of France. Tiny neighbor of France. Not seeing that immediately. Seats at a hoedown. Could be bales of hay, I suppose. And let's see. We're saving that one still. Headed. Could be ran, as in ran an organization, headed an organization. Let's check the crosses and see if that works. To deliver a burn to. And Buffalo's Lake. I don't know. I'm not seeing anything immediately from that with Rans. Maybe it's not Ran. Let's look here. New England State School. Boy, a lot of American cultural knowledge necessary for this crossword. Letters between news and omicrons. I don't know. Don't know that alphabet well enough. Some frozen drinks. Well, it's, let's put this in actually, because this I think you could guess at this point. The opposite of a freeway is a toll road, a road in which you must pay a toll, as opposed to a freeway, which in the United States is a term for a highway that is not a toll road. And actually, freeway, even then, is only used in some regions of the United States. It's not, even then, it's not this terminology is not necessarily universal. Oh, the tiny neighborhood of France is Luxembourg. Sorry, I was just sort of glancing at the empty cells, and I just saw Luxembourg fill up there. Oh, Luxembourg, B-O-U. So that makes the Error of Family Feud reruns GSN. Maybe that's a game show network, since Family Feud is a game show. And then the female flower part, ovule, that sounds plausible enough, not something I remembered. What is this X? Oh, letters between news and omicrons. Must be zoos? Is that the letter? I should really just sit down and learn this alphabet, shouldn't I? The Greek alphabet. New England State School, well, we've gotten the least useful letter, which is the U for university. Doesn't really help. Headed, it's not ran, it's led. To deliver a burn to, oh, I see. It could be you diss somebody. And then here we have Buffalo's Lake. Oh, no, maybe not zoos. Maybe XI, because I suspect Buffalo's Lake, and I'm just going to go ahead and have to put this in, is Lake Erie. And then the frozen drinks are ices, which, again, I did know, but I assume that's American, so I was trying to hold off. And there's the Monday crossword. So I solved this in sort of a funny way. I hope that wasn't irritating for you. I was just sort of decided I would do that little experiment of seeing how far we could get if we didn't know all of this American knowledge, because I know we do have a fair number of non-American watchers of the channel, and one of the most common comments I get is that people found particular puzzles difficult because they didn't have that knowledge base from growing up in the United States. So I just, on a Monday, sort of low risk, I figured I would try that out and see how it took us. And I think generally speaking, particularly on an relatively easy puzzle like a Monday, that worked pretty well. It just so happened that this puzzle had a high percentage of that sort of thing. And yeah, a pretty good solid puzzle all around. Definitely a few tricky things in it, I would say. Ovule and recto. These are pretty relatively obscure terms for a Monday, I would say. Just realized I never looked at this Calder Cup rink organization, AHL. I don't even know what that is. American Hockey League? Don't think I've heard of that one. I've heard of the National Hockey League. But yeah, some tough things in this puzzle for a Monday, I'll say. But hopefully you'll be able to get it mainly with crosses if need be. Let me know how you fared on this Monday puzzle, whether it was easy, difficult, had a brick wall due to some knowledge gaps. And I hope you enjoyed it one way or the other. If you did, perhaps consider subscribing to this channel so that you see these videos as they are posted each morning. And why not tell a friend? Maybe they would like to learn the incredibly obscure bit of knowledge that the right-hand page of a book is referred to as recto. Who knows? Maybe that'll come in handy someday, probably in a crossword. And if you are particularly enjoying this series and you would like to help contribute to its ongoing sustainability, why not toss me a couple of quid or a few bucks through my Ko-fi donation page, which is linked in the description field underneath each video. You can make a donation in an amount of your choosing on a one-off or monthly recurring basis. And thank you so much to everybody who has done so, particularly those of you who have made that recurring monthly donation. I think I mentioned this a while back. I'm trying to think of ways I can, I don't know, have some sort of reward or something for people who have done that. If you've contributed at that level, would you be interested, for instance, in your name being read out once a month, that when each month ticks over on a video? Would that interest you? I'm trying to figure out what I could do that would be a sustainable way to reward and appreciate people who have done that. Let me know if you have any ideas. Anyway, with that, I do hope I will see you again tomorrow for the Tuesday Solve, and I also very much hope you have an excellent rest of your Monday. Take care.